really the experience that I wanted to multiply was one of my favorite life experiences, which is that given that I wrote arrangements and songs for church and things like that, kids in the youth group, if they wrote a song, would come over, they'd be friends of my kids, would come over and say, "Hey, I wrote a song, I wrote my first song, let me play it for you." So they would stumble through it on their guitar, and then I would watch the chords that they're playing and and listen to the song carefully. And right after they finished playing that, I would sit down at my keyboard in the studio and play their song. And lots of times it would be the best they'd ever heard their song. And so then they'd sing with it, we'd record it, and just the look on their face when someone hears this first song they've ever written sounding great is the experience I was trying to multiply. Well, I knew that we'd have to spend a lot of time and money recording a whole bunch of different strums on guitar and different keyboard riffs. We had to record 100,000 files of guitars, basses, drums, keyboard, all those pieces. And I knew I could write the software that would combine those. All of Jam Studio is real players. It's not a computer playing your stuff. The computer is just directing when to play what chord. If I could ask a person, "Do you like music?" then I think most of the time I would get, "Yes, I like music." Then I'd say, "Well, what kind of music do you like?" And they'd say, "Well, I love rock music, but I don't play anything. I don't sing or anything." So that's okay. I can show you how to create music, and here's the way to do it. I'm going to make you the producer. Let me bring a band in here. Here's a rock drummer, a rock bass player, a rock guitar player. Here's your interface with them. Just point at one of those players and they'll start playing something. If you don't like what they're playing, then point at them again. They'll try something different. And then based on your own preferences, you're creating music you like, because you're the one that said you liked this style. So basically, it makes Jam Studio as easy as choosing some chords, and then turning on guitar, bass, and drums. So Jam Studio has two main functions. One, to help you build backing tracks, or what some people might call karaoke tracks for existing songs. But it can be in your own style, at your own tempo, at the pitch that's right for your voice. I mean, you're in total control of creating your track. And then the second is a scratch pad for writing music. And this is the most exciting to me, because I have this view that music is the language of the heart, the language of the soul, and that it goes beyond any borders of countries or anything that would divide us. We're joined by music, and music communicates across all lines. So in the same way that a kid learns to talk to communicate, I really think there's a musical element there. And I kind of think that there's like at least one good song in every person. So but they'll never be able to access it unless there's something like Jam Studio. You've got, my dad used to say, well, I play the radio. That's what he plays. I play keyboards, guitar, and my brothers play different instruments. But that's a big difference. Playing the radio is totally fixed. So what's in between the radio and 6 weeks of guitar, or 6 years of keyboard, or however much time it takes you to be proficient with an instrument? There's nothing in between. So Jam Studio is right there in between. It still lets you be in charge of the creation. There's a great success story of this girl who went on Jam Studio, put in 4 chords, let it play, wrote a song, recorded herself singing it on YouTube, and then someone else saw that, took those tracks off, added more tracks. That's the kind of thing we want to do, is bringing musicians together to be able to collaborate with each other. You write lyrics, I write music, let's get your lyrics and my music together. Or I write great arrangements and you write great melodies. People have diverse talents in music, but until you're able to jump in, you don't know where your talents are, and a lot of people have never had the opportunity to learn guitar or piano. Now they don't need to. For the first time in an online setting, people can make CD quality music without the ability to play piano or guitar or own a guitar or piano. They can do it all online. Well, it originally was Chord Studio because it's driven by chords. And then I had having worked with these startups that I've been in the circle of the team that creates great products, and so I used some of those relationships, met with some of those people to talk about my idea, got the idea funded through some of those relationships, and some of those relationships yielded the fact that Dave, what you're doing there, what you're describing, it is a lot more fun than Chord Studio. Chord Studio sounds like an educational product, and nothing you're saying is education. You're almost the other end of the spectrum of education. You're trying to make music totally fun, totally accessible. We did initially launch as Chord Studio, so we were Chord Studio for a few months. If you search online, you can see the old original brown screen with a guitar on the side, and so after we became Jam Studio, we got some great people on staff to create a great look, a futuristic look that matched what we were doing. We got the blue screen and the blue kind of background. And then people began to really love Jam Studio, and we just got tons of mail from people about, oh, I love this thing. I've written lyrics, but I've never been able to play an instrument. Now I've written my first song, played my first song. Or I used to get bored practicing drums, but now I can turn on the guitar and bass and I can play drums with it. Or I play guitar and I can let Jam Studio play the bass and drums. And so we've gotten letters from teachers that are using it with their kids. Kids in elementary school are writing their first songs. Kids in college are creating CDs of their original music. If you search Google for Create Music Online, we hold that spot real strongly at number one. Just create music. Just those two keywords. We're a lot of times at number one. We're always on the first page. But that's against everybody who makes any kind of keyboard, any kind of guitar, any amp, everybody that exists in the world. And yet, Create Music, Jam Studio comes up. So it took a lot of work to get to that point, and a lot of help from lots of people who commented about Jam Studio and wrote about it.